everyone, welcome to Wilde and Purdy. I'm Lindsay and I am your guide over the next several weeks as we go on this journey of making a wild flight quilt. I wanted to hop on today to do a little introduction about myself since I don't know a lot of you. Introduce what a mystery quilt is and what the format of this mystery quilt will be. And finally wrap up talking about fabric and what you should do, shouldn't do, tips, tricks, and things that will ensure that your quilt turns out wild and pretty. So to begin, I am Lindsay. I live in southeastern Wisconsin with my husband Andrew and our two little fur babies. Frankie is our almost 3-year-old St. Bernard. And then we have our mischievous, almost 2-year-old Golden Retriever Cooper. I began quilting when I was around 12. I was probably about 12, somewhere in there. And I was bugging my mom while she was at work with, how do I load the bobbin? How do I wind a bobbin? I'm sure just driving her absolutely insane. But we got through it and I have been quilting ever since. I enjoy taking patterns and tweaking them, flipping them on their heads, making them something completely different. And I've done that pretty much the entire time I've been quilting. So it has been nice to start venturing into making my own quilts with my own patterns so that I can start completely from scratch. And I'm thrilled that you're here with this journey of creating a wild flight. It is going to be so much fun and I thoroughly hope you enjoy the quilts as much as I do. For those that are completely new, we have over 160 people doing this quilt, which is just incredible, an incredible response from all of you, so thank you. We are going to start out with, in the middle of December, which is why you're seeing this video, I'm sending out fabric instructions, so what fabric you need to create the quilt, and how many colors you need. That's all the information that you get. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks here. But you're basically just going to have a bunch of fabric and you're not going to get the instructions until week 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. You're going to get just a little snippet of the pattern each week and you make that portion that week. And we continue to build, and by the end of the 7th week, you will have a completed quilt top. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. But it's pretty simple in concept. It's fun. It's, keeps you guessing and looking forward to what is coming next. What's going to be next week? How is this going to fit together? It's almost like a quilting puzzle that you're putting together with clues each week as you make another section. All right, everybody, let's talk about fabric. On the screen here, you will see that I have laid out all of the fabrics that I am choosing to use for demonstration purposes for this quilt. There's a few things that you might notice about these fabrics is that they are all shades of blue, except for this, creamy white that I have down here. I am choosing to do this quilt in a monochromatic scheme, kind of an ombre effect where I'm going from kind of a mid-level blue teal color down to a very dark navy ink almost black color here. And then my accent fabric, contrasts all of these. So for this quilt, you need 7 fabrics, and they are labeled fabric A, fabric B, C, D, E, F, and G. So fabric F here is your darkest fabric, and from this fabric you want to go backwards up the alphabet to letter A, so from letter F to letter A, and you want to get progressively lighter in your color scheme. Now, you don't have to select one color and make this a monochromatic quilt. I'll put on the screen here a picture of fabrics that my mom has selected, and then I also have a friend that is doing this quilt as the mystery, and I'll put what fabrics she has selected. So you'll notice that in both of those pictures they had 8 fabrics. I only have 7, and you might be asking why. Well, I've selected that my border fabric is also going to be from my letter F. They have selected to use a very large scale print as their border. I'm keeping mine pretty simple here, but don't be afraid to use that fabric as your border. Okay, so we've talked about colors and how we need to arrange them from fabric A to fabric G, from like a medium to a really dark shade. And then we're gonna pop in with an accent color, which will be your fabric G. But let's talk about the size of our prints. We don't want to use directional fabrics. We don't want to use large scale prints or even medium scale prints. We want to stick with fabrics that are pretty small prints. Tone on tones are going to work beautifully. Batik fabrics will probably work really well for this quilt. But anything that has a really big, obvious print to it, I don't think it's going to read well. It's especially not going to read well for fabric F in the quilts. However, I have broken out fabric F. If you look on your sheet of paper, I've broken it out into the fabric for the quilts that you need and then the fabric that you need for the border. So if you choose to use a really bold print to pull your colors from, still feel free to use that in your border or even as your backing fabric. It might help you pull in more colors instead of just making it monochromatic, which is what I'm going to be doing in the sample. But as always, if you have questions, you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, in the comment section down below, and then also on my website, which I will link in the description below for you to be able to get to the Are You Confused? Ask Me portion of the website. Yeah. All right, guys, that is all for this episode of Wilde and Purdy. I hope you have the tools you need to be able to move forward for selecting your fabrics for a Wilde Flight mystery quilt. I will meet you back here on January 20th, where we will begin a Wilde Flight mystery quilt. Until then, be wild and make something purdy.